A lone traveler sets out on a long and uncertain journey. His path winds through vast landscapes, some filled with beauty, others riddled with peril. At first, the journey feels exhilarating. The sun warms his face, and a gentle breeze guides his steps. But soon, the road grows treacherous, the sky darkens, the first raindrops fall, then come crashing waves of wind and thunder. The traveler pulls his cloak tighter around him, his heart pounding. He wasn't prepared for this. The storm is fierce, relentless, the wind roars like a wild beast, and rain lashes against his face. His steps falter as the thought creeps into his mind, turn back. Find shelter, give up this journey before it swallows you whole. But then, he remembers the words of a wise old monk he once met in a quiet monastery, nestled deep within the mountains. The storm outside can never harm you, unless you let it enter your heart. He had nodded politely back then, thinking he understood, but only now, standing in the heart of the storm, does he grasp its true meaning. The rain, the wind, the chaos, they are real, but they exist only in the external world. It is his fear, his resistance, that magnifies their power over him. So, instead of fighting the storm, he lets go. He stops cursing the wind. He stops wishing for the sky to clear. He simply walks, one step at a time. He breathes. He surrenders, not in defeat, but in understanding. And something incredible happens. The storm no longer feels like an enemy. It is simply a part of the journey, neither good nor bad. Just something to move through. He watches the trees bending without breaking, the river flowing effortlessly around rocks. Nature does not resist, it adapts. And so does he. As he walks forward, the storm does not break him. It shapes him. His feet grow steadier, his mind clears. The journey, once terrifying, now feels like a lesson. He realizes that peace is not found by avoiding storms, but by learning how to walk through them with grace. This is the essence of Buddhism, the ability to remain calm in the face of life's inevitable challenges. The world will never be free of storms. There will always be hardships, criticism, uncertainty, but true peace does not depend on external conditions. It is something you cultivate within. And this is what I want to share with you today. There are 10 powerful Buddhist principles that, when practiced, will help you develop a mind so strong, so steady, that nothing can shake your inner peace. Just like the traveler, you will learn not to fear life's storms, but to embrace them as part of your journey. So, if you are ready to discover the path to unshakable serenity, let's begin. 1. Establishing firm purposes, the anchor in life's storms. Life without purpose is like a ship lost at sea, drifting aimlessly with every wave. No matter how strong the sails or how vast the ocean, without a clear direction, the journey becomes uncertain, and the traveler is left at the mercy of the winds. In Buddhism, the principle of right intention serves as our compass, guiding us toward a life of meaning and clarity. Story example. There was once a man who had everything: wealth, success, recognition, yet, despite all his achievements, he felt a constant emptiness, as if something was missing. He wandered from place to place, seeking answers, but nothing seemed to satisfy him. One day, he visited a monastery and sat before a wise monk. With a weary sigh, he asked, "How do I find peace? I have worked hard, I have gained much, yet my heart is restless." The monk smiled and pointed to a river flowing nearby. "Do you see the river?" he asked. "Does it ever stop to ask where it should go?" The man shook his head. "That is because it knows its destination, the ocean. It does not hesitate. It does not fight against the rocks in its path. It simply flows, because it understands where it must go. Your life, too, must have a direction. If you do not know where you are going, you will always feel lost, no matter how much you achieve." The man took the monk's words to heart. That night, he sat in quiet reflection. He wrote down what truly mattered to him, his values, his aspirations, and the impact he wished to leave in the world. The next morning, he felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted. His purpose had become clear, and with it, his inner turmoil faded. Buddha once said, "Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart, give yourself to it." Lesson. Each morning, take a moment to reconnect with your purpose. The clearer your direction, the less life's distractions will shake you. Like the river flowing to the ocean, let your purpose guide you, and peace will follow. 2. Becoming untouchable, mastering emotional responses. Imagine someone insults you. Their words are sharp, cutting through the air like daggers. Do you react with anger? Do you allow their negativity to poison your peace? Or do you remain calm, untouched by their attempts to provoke you? In Buddhism, we are taught that suffering does not come from external events but from how we respond to them. The storm outside can rage, but it is only when we invite it into our hearts that we truly suffer. Story example. There was once a young monk who was easily angered. He found it difficult to remain calm whenever someone said something hurtful. One day, his Zen master decided to teach him a lesson. The master poured the young monk a cup of tea and said, "Hold this and walk around the temple." The student did as he was told. As he walked, the master suddenly bumped into him. The tea spilled all over the monk's robe. Irritated, he snapped, "Why did you do that?" The master smiled and asked, "What spilled from your cup?" "Tea, of course," the monk replied, still annoyed. The master nodded. "Exactly, the tea spilled because that is what was inside your cup." In the same way, when life shakes you, whatever is inside you will spill out. If anger is inside, anger will spill out. If peace is inside, peace will spill out. The young monk was silent, reflecting on the profound lesson. He realized that external events did not create his anger, it was already within him. And if he wanted to stop reacting with anger, he needed to fill his cup with peace. Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." Lesson. The next time someone insults you, pause. Instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is inside my cup? If you are filled with anger, anger will spill out. But if you cultivate inner peace, no storm, no insult, no criticism can disturb you. True strength is not in winning arguments or retaliating against insults. True strength is in remaining untouched, mastering your emotions, and choosing peace over reaction. 3. Handling insults gracefully, the art of compassionate response. Imagine someone hurling insults at you, words meant to wound, to provoke, to ignite anger within you. Your heart races, your mind urges you to respond, to defend yourself. But what if you didn't? What if, instead of reacting, you simply let the insult pass, like a breeze moving through an open field? In Buddhism, there is a profound teaching. An insult is like a gift. If you refuse to accept it, it remains with the giver. Story example. One day, as Buddha sat in deep meditation under the shade of a tree, a man approached him, furious and full of resentment. He began shouting insults, trying to provoke the Buddha. Yet, Buddha remained still. His expression did not change. His mind remained as peaceful as a still lake. The man grew even angrier. "Why do you not respond?" he demanded. "Do my words mean nothing to you?" Buddha slowly opened his eyes and smiled. "If someone offers you a gift, and you refuse to accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man was silent. He realized that no matter how much anger he poured onto Buddha, it had no effect, because Buddha did not take it in. His anger remained his own burden to carry. And so, the man left, his frustration replaced by reflection. Lesson. The next time someone insults you, remember this story. Their words do not define you. Their anger is their own suffering. You do not have to accept their negativity. Instead of reacting with anger, Respond with wisdom and compassion. You have the power to decide whether an insult enters your heart or remains where it was given. True strength is not in shouting back or proving yourself. It is in remaining at peace, unmoved by the storms of others. In doing so, you set yourself free. 4. Guarding your mind, planting the right thoughts. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden. Flowers bloom in vibrant colors, filling the air with a soft, calming fragrance. Birds sing, and the wind whispers gently through the trees. Now imagine the opposite, a garden overrun with weeds, choking out life, leaving behind only thorns and decay. Your mind is like this garden. If you plant weeds, thoughts of fear, doubt, and anger, they will spread, taking over everything. But if you plant flowers, thoughts of gratitude, love, and wisdom, your mind will flourish, radiating peace. Example. A troubled man once approached a monk and asked, "How do I stop negative thoughts from controlling me?" The monk, instead of answering directly, handed the man a glass filled with muddy water. "This," the monk said, "represents your mind clouded with negativity." Then, the monk took a pitcher of clear water and began pouring it slowly into the glass. At first, the muddy water swirled around, but as the monk continued pouring, the dirt gradually washed away, leaving behind pure, clear water. The monk smiled and said, "You cannot force negative thoughts to disappear, but if you keep pouring in positive, pure thoughts, the negativity will fade on its own." The man understood. From that day forward, he became mindful of what he allowed into his mind, choosing thoughts that lifted him rather than those that dragged him down. Lesson. Your mind is shaped by what you feed it. If you constantly dwell on worries, anger, and regret, those thoughts will dominate your reality. But if you cultivate patience, kindness, and optimism, they will become your inner foundation. Observe your thoughts. Do not let weeds grow unchecked. Whenever you notice negativity creeping in, replace it with something positive. A single thought can change the course of your life. Choose to plant flowers, not weeds. 5. Overcoming fear and shame, breaking free from mental chains. Fear and shame are like invisible chains that hold us back from fully living. They whisper doubts into our minds, making us afraid to take risks, to speak our truth, to be seen as we truly are. But what if these chains were never real to begin with? What if they only had power because we believed in them? In Buddhism, we learn that awareness is the key to liberation. The moment we bring our fears and shame into the light of understanding, they begin to lose their grip on us. Story example. A young monk struggled with fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. Seeing this, his teacher gave him a task. "Carry this bag of rocks with you everywhere for a day," the master said. The student obeyed. At first, it was manageable, but as the hours passed, his back ached, his steps grew heavy, and every moment felt exhausting. At the end of the day, the master asked, "How do you feel?" "Tired," the student groaned. "Why did I have to carry this?" The master smiled. "That is how carrying fear and shame feels. You don't realize how heavy they are until you try to let them go. The moment you put them down, you are free." The student stood still for a moment. Then, he dropped the bag. A deep sense of relief washed over him. He understood. Buddha once said, "Even death is not to be feared by one who has lived wisely." Lesson. Fear and shame only have power if you cling to them. The next time they arise, pause and question them. Ask yourself, is this fear real? Or is it a story my mind is telling me? Most fears are illusions, built from past experiences or imagined scenarios. The moment you see them clearly, they begin to dissolve. Put down the bag of rocks. Walk forward, lighter, freer, unburdened. 6. Transforming everyone into a relentless teacher. In life, We cross paths with many kinds of people, some kind and inspiring, others difficult and frustrating. But what if I told you that every person you meet is a teacher? That even those who anger or challenge you are offering you a lesson, an opportunity to grow. Buddhism teaches us that the people who test our patience, who push our buttons, who bring discomfort into our lives, are in fact our greatest teachers. They reveal the parts of us that still need work. They expose the wounds we have not yet healed. And if we approach them with wisdom, they can help us cultivate patience, compassion, and inner strength. Story example. A young monk once struggled with anger. Every day, as he walked through the village, there was one man, loud, rude, and aggressive, who would insult him. The monk grew frustrated. No matter how hard he tried, the villager's words disturbed his peace. One day, he complained to his master, "That man is unbearable. How can I practice peace when he is always provoking me?" The master simply smiled and said, "You should thank him. He is your greatest teacher in patience." The young monk was confused. "How is he my teacher?" The master explained, "It is easy to be peaceful when surrounded by kindness. But true peace is tested in difficulty. If you truly wish to master patience, he is giving you the perfect opportunity." The monk pondered these words. The next day, when the villager insulted him, he did not react. Instead, he silently thanked him for the lesson. Over time, the villager's words lost their power, and the young monk discovered something profound. The only person who could disturb his peace was himself. Lesson. The next time you encounter someone difficult, instead of reacting, pause and ask, "What can I learn from this?" If someone is impatient, they teach you patience. If someone is unkind, they teach you the importance of compassion. If someone is dishonest, they remind you to live with integrity. When you adopt this mindset, no encounter is wasted, every person becomes a teacher, and every moment becomes an opportunity to grow. 7. Forging an unshakable ethical code. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is easy, filled with shortcuts, opportunities to deceive, and ways to gain without effort. The other is harder, requiring honesty, integrity, and discipline. Which path would you choose? In Buddhism, our ethical code is our compass. It keeps us on the right path. Even when temptations arise, it ensures that, no matter what storms life brings, we remain true to ourselves. Without strong ethics, we are like a ship without direction, easily swayed by greed, fear, and external pressures. Story example. There was once a businessman known for his honesty. Early in his career, he was offered a tempting deal. A small lie could bring him great wealth. It was simple, no one would ever know. But he refused. "My integrity is worth more than any profit," he said. Years passed, and his business grew steadily, not as fast as those who took shortcuts, but with deep trust from his clients. One day, a powerful investor was looking for someone reliable to partner with. He had heard of this businessman's unwavering honesty and chose to work with him. That one decision, choosing integrity over temporary gain, brought him greater success than any shortcut ever could. More importantly, it gave him peace of mind. He never had to fear being exposed, never had to carry the weight of deception. Lesson. Ethics are not just rules, they are the foundation of a peaceful and meaningful life. If you act dishonestly, even if no one else knows, you know, and that knowledge will weigh on you. If you treat others unfairly, even if they never retaliate, you will feel the effects of your own actions. If you stand by your principles, even when it's difficult, your conscience will be clear, and your inner peace will remain unshaken. Buddha taught, "The virtuous man delights in this world, and he delights in the next." The choices we make today shape our future. Live with integrity, and you will walk through life with confidence, free from regret, and anchored in peace. 8. Living in harmony with nature. Nature holds profound wisdom, lessons written not in books, but in the rivers, mountains, and changing seasons. If we look closely, we realize that nature does not resist, it adapts, flows, and embraces change. Yet, as humans, we often fight against the inevitable. We resist change, struggle with uncertainty, and try to control what is beyond our power. But what if, instead of resisting life's currents, we learn to flow like a river? Story example. Imagine a river winding through the mountains. Along its path, it encounters obstacles, rocks, fallen branches, steep cliffs. Does the river stop? Does it try to push the rocks away in frustration? No, it simply flows around them, continuing its journey without resistance. The river does not complain about the obstacles, it embraces them, finding new paths where none seem to exist. In the same way, when we face challenges, we can either resist and suffer, or adapt and keep moving forward. I once met an elderly farmer who had faced many hardships: a flood that destroyed his crops, a storm that took down his home. Yet, he never seemed troubled. When I asked him how he remained so calm, he smiled and said, "Storms come, storms go. The trees do not cry when the wind blows. They bend, and when the storm passes, they stand tall again." That moment changed me. I realized that peace does not come from trying to control life, but from trusting its natural flow. Lesson. Life, like nature, is constantly changing. Seasons shift, rivers carve new paths, and nothing stays the same forever. When we resist, we suffer. When we flow with life, we remain at peace. If plans change, adapt. If difficulties arise, adjust. If the winds of life push you in a new direction, trust that the path is unfolding as it should. Instead of resisting life's currents, be like the river, flow around obstacles, move forward, and embrace change with grace. 9. Weaponizing gratitude, the key to unshakable joy. Life is full of ups and downs, moments of joy and moments of pain. While we cannot control everything that happens, we can control how we perceive and respond to it. And one of the most powerful tools for transforming suffering into wisdom is gratitude. Gratitude is not just about saying, "Thank you," when things go well. True gratitude is the ability to find light even in the darkest moments, to recognize that even in loss, there is something to be gained. Even in hardship, there is a lesson to be learned. Buddha taught, "Let us rise and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little." Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is present. It is a shield against despair and a bridge to inner peace. Story example. There was once a man who lost everything: his job, his home, his sense of purpose. Overwhelmed by grief, he fell into deep sadness, unable to see a way forward. One day, he met an old teacher who gave him a simple task. Each night, before you sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Do this for a month. The man resisted at first. "What do I have to be grateful for? My life is in ruins." The teacher smiled. "Even now, you have breath in your lungs. You have a chance to rebuild. The sun still rises for you each day." Reluctantly, the man began writing. At first, the things he listed were small. "I had a warm meal today. A stranger smiled at me. The air smelled fresh after the rain." But as the days passed, something shifted. His mind, once trapped in despair, began to open to the beauty still present in his life. His suffering did not disappear, but his perspective changed, and with it, his strength returned. Lesson. Gratitude is not about ignoring pain, it is about reframing it. When we practice gratitude daily, we train our minds to see abundance instead of lack, possibility instead of limitation. If you are struggling, find one small thing to be grateful for. If you feel lost, acknowledge the lessons life is teaching you. If your heart is heavy, remember that even pain can be transformed into wisdom. Gratitude is the antidote to suffering. Cultivate it, and joy will follow. 10. The power of daily practice, making these principles a way of life. Understanding Buddhist principles is one thing, living them is another. Knowledge alone does not bring peace. It is daily practice that transforms the mind, turning wisdom into an unshakable way of being. Think of a great tree standing tall in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, yet the tree does not fall. Why? Because its roots run deep. In the same way, your inner peace must be deeply rooted in practice. The true test of your growth is not in moments of calm, but in the challenges of daily life, when someone insults you, when plans fall apart, when uncertainty arises. How you respond in these moments determines whether you truly embody these teachings. Story example. There was once a disciple who came to his master, frustrated. I have read so many teachings. I understand all the Buddhist principles. Yet I still feel disturbed by life's challenges. Why? The master took the disciple to a well. He handed him a bucket and asked him to fill it with water and carry it back to the monastery. The disciple did as he was told. Halfway back, the water spilled out. Go back and fill it again, the master instructed. This happened over and over. The disciple grew tired. Why do you keep making me do this? He asked. The master smiled. Wisdom is like this water. If you do not refill it daily, it will be lost. You cannot expect peace to remain if you do not practice it continuously. The disciple understood. Inner peace is not something you gain once and keep forever. It must be cultivated every day. Lesson. If you truly want to be unshakable, you must practice. Every morning, remind yourself of your purpose. When challenges arise, respond with patience, not reaction. Each night, reflect. Did I guard my mind today? Did I act with integrity? Did I choose gratitude? Buddha did not teach temporary peace. He taught a way of life. The more you practice, the deeper your roots will grow. And one day, no matter what storm comes your way, you will stand tall, untouched, unshaken, and truly free. Life is unpredictable. Storms will come, challenges will arise, and people will test your patience. But through it all, remember this. Peace is an inside job. No external event can shake you, unless you allow it. The world around you will never be completely free of conflict, difficulties, or disappointments, but the true battle is not with the outside world, it is within your own mind. The person who learns to master their emotions, to remain calm in the face of adversity, and to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, is truly untouchable. Through the 10 Buddhist principles we've explored, you now have a roadmap to cultivate this unshakable state of being. Anchor yourself in purpose so that no hardship can make you feel lost. Master your emotional responses so that others no longer have power over you. Handle insults with grace, remembering that you do not have to accept negativity. Guard your mind by planting thoughts that uplift you. Let go of fear and shame, recognizing them as illusions. See everyone as a teacher, using each interaction for growth. Live by an unshakable ethical code, so your conscience remains clear. Flow with life like a river, embracing change rather than resisting it. Weaponize gratitude, transforming suffering into wisdom. Practice these principles daily, and you will find that no storm, no insult, and no hardship can disturb your peace. The world may remain chaotic, but your inner world can be a sanctuary of serenity. If you found this journey helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom. Let's continue walking this path together. Stay mindful, stay strong,